Hey friends, welcome to Post to Post. Thanks for joining me today. We're talking Winter Classic. The teams have been announced. There's controversy, there's opinions, there's upset people all over the place, and there's some happy people as well. It's the Boston Bruins versus the Pittsburgh Penguins at Fenway Park. I understand the controversy, okay? We're going to try and break it down a little bit, and then at the end, I'm going to give you my opinion on the entire situation. Before we get into the current teams, let's go back into history a little bit and look at every team that's played. I'm going to do this quick, okay? So I've got it up on the screen here. We've got Pittsburgh versus Buffalo, Detroit versus Chicago, Philadelphia versus Boston, Washington versus Pittsburgh, the Rangers versus Philadelphia, Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Detroit Red Wings, Chicago versus Washington, Montreal versus Boston, Chicago versus St. Louis, New York Rangers versus Buffalo, Boston versus Chicago, Nashville versus Dallas, St. Louis versus Minnesota, and then this one coming up, Pittsburgh versus Boston. So if you've been paying attention in that little sprout that I did there, you would have counted 14 teams, 14 total teams, but if you do the math, the possibility of all these games, if you have a different team every time, 28. There's a possibility that we could have seen 28 different teams so far since the Winter Classic came into existence. 14. That's the number we're at. Literally half. So of appearances, we've seen Chicago 4, Boston 3, Rangers 2, Capitals 2, Blues 2, Wings 2, Pittsburgh 2, Buffalo 2, Flyers 2, and then goes on from there for the ones. I guess if we count the new one, we're going to see Pittsburgh at 3 and Boston at 4. Is this the wrong decision? Let me try and answer that first. Is this the wrong decision by the NHL? Mostly no. I think from a financial perspective, no. From a ratings perspective, definitely not. We've got the Pittsburgh Penguins, one of the most successful teams in the last 15 years in the NHL, a team full of superstars, if not the most popular superstar still, Sidney Crosby. Then you've got Boston, a team that's won the Stanley Cup recently, a team that remains competitive regardless of what happens year to year. They're just kind of always in the mix. They've got their superstars of their own, Bergeron and Marchand. So these two teams going head to head, you know you're going to see some good hockey, okay? The Pittsburgh Penguins have been pretty consistent in the last decade. So have the Boston Bruins. Going head-to-head, it's likely going to be some good hockey. So regardless if you cheer for the teams or not, if you tune in, you know, you're going to see some good hockey. But from a ratings perspective, if you look at all of the fan base of the Pittsburgh Penguins, which is a lot, and the fan base of the Boston Bruins, which is a lot, big ratings, okay? Big ratings. You're choosing two big fan bases, teams to go ahead against each other. So this is really a financial play from the NHL. It's not a growth play. Big ratings, huge audiences, huge television audiences does not equate to game growth. And I think that is the part of the no. Did the NHL make the right decision? No. I'd say it's about 30% no, they didn't, and 70% yes, they did, because money's the really important thing here for the NHL. Growth becomes secondary, but that growth is really important long term. So I personally would have preferred to see different teams, teams that we've never seen before, and I'll say one here a little bit later, but I would have liked to see different teams. And also from a color perspective as well, we've got black and yellow versus black and yellow, or black and gold versus black and gold. I mean, fine, but let's get some more color in there, just from a visual perspective, from a viewer, whether you're there in person, whether you're watching at home. Like, just switch it up a little bit. And they've already played, there's already a tie-in to Fenway Park. And I understand that there's an ownership thing happening here, okay? They're both kind of under the same umbrella in a way. Pittsburgh just became part of that Fenway group. So I understand why this game is happening, but it shouldn't be a Winter Classic. That's my main opinion, is that this should not be a Winter Classic. Make this all about make this a Fenway specific series outdoor game where you just have these two teams going at it, and that's fine. Maybe make it like two outdoor games, like on a weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Just go for it. Make it a really big, cool event, and that would be great. Save the Winter Classic for maybe teams that really deserve it. I'm thinking about teams. I told you I was going to say one. Columbus. That's a team that I would love to see in a Winter Classic. I don't know who that they would necessarily face. I think there's a lot of really cool options, but Columbus is kind of the team that stands out for me that really maybe deserves a Winter Classic. They don't have an incredibly large fan base like a Boston Bruins team does, or a Pittsburgh Penguins, but that doesn't really matter. It's about a growth play as well. If you have an outdoor game in Columbus, the average hockey fan is probably going to be a little bit more interested. I'm not talking about the hardcore fans. They're going anyway, or they're watching anyway. But the average fan, their interest will peak. And then the people who really don't care that much about hockey, they're going to get notified basically from a friend, for TV, marketing, whatever. They're going to be like, oh, wow, that's kind of interesting. They're playing, a hockey game in a baseball park. That's a really cool idea. I never expected them to do anything like that. Maybe I'll check it out. That's the growth part. Okay, that's not happening in Pittsburgh or Boston. They've already been exposed to that 3 times for Pittsburgh, and then now 4 times for the Boston Bruins. So, like I said, ratings does not equate to growth. So I would have liked to see a team like Columbus in there and make this whole Boston versus Pittsburgh thing their own outdoor event. I think that would be awesome. I'd absolutely watch it. 2 great teams going against each other. But yeah, save the Winter Classic for something else. I think the NHL is being influenced by the Fenway Group, or whatever that group is called, whatever the ownership group is called. I don't really care. This is a corporate play. Isn't for the fans. Do not be fooled by the NHL. This game is not for the fans. This is for money. Okay, it's the dollar bills that are speaking here, and corporate dollar bills. They want that money. They want the exposure, and it's like, I understand it from a business perspective for sure, but almost from a human or a fan perspective, I'm kind of like annoyed or whatever. But I wanted to bring up the image that NHL released. Let's bring it up on the screen here. And it's a really interesting image because old B-Rad there on the right, that doesn't look like Brad Marchand, like at all to me. I think that they photoshopped the face in or something. It's just, there's something a little bit off about it. I can't really describe it. I don't know if there was a different player there and they put his head, and I don't know, but to me that doesn't look like Brad Marchand. But yeah, I mean, it's a cool graphic. It's going to be a good game. It really is. Like, I'm throwing a little bit of shade here at Fenway, but it's going to be a great game. I think these 2 teams, because they're so competitive, it's going to be a fun game to watch. I'm not going to predict a winner now. That's crazy. But yeah, I'll probably be tuning in for this one. I usually don't for Winter Classics. I guess it depends on who plays. People are going to ask what I think the jerseys are going to look like. There's lots of options. There's a ton of options. Now, I talked about yellow and gold versus yellow and gold, but hypothetically, if Pittsburgh treats this as an actual Winter Classic, they could go to their original colors, which is the blues, the darker blue and the baby blue. So we wouldn't have 2 color clashes happening there. So I kind of suspect that they might actually do that to avoid that situation that I called the color clashes. So that's probably good news for people like me who know that there's maybe a cool jersey up and coming that we could collect. But I'm curious to see what the jerseys are going to look like. I'm sure there's been concepts made and stuff on Twitter and whatnot. Would love to see those. But yeah, let me know what you think, guys, down below in the comment section. Are you excited? Number one, are you excited? And are you going to watch this one? Regardless if you're a Penguins or a Bruins fan or whoever you cheer for, a regular hockey fan, are you going to watch this? I'm going to. Number 2, what other teams do you think would have been the better decision to include in this Winter Classic? Just hypothetically, Boston and Pittsburgh do their own thing. If you had to choose the 2 teams for the next Winter Classic, who would it be? I'm picking Columbus for one. Maybe if you guys want to suggest another one down below in the comment section, that would be great. I read all the comments. I hope you guys are having a great day. If you are new and you enjoyed this style of video and conversation, please hit the subscribe button down below. And if you did enjoy it, make sure you hit the like button as well. That definitely helps. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow for 2 new videos. Adios.